Hello, thank you very much for coming in to listen to me and to think with me. I always make a small clarification before going into the subject that we will discuss in each video, and on this occasion it is something that I think it is important that you always bear in mind. I do not dictate the truth. We don't dictate it for you to follow us without question. All I share is my perspective, which is formed from the experience I may have gained through my own existence in the places I have been, situations I have experienced, and also learning, of course, from other people who helped me grow. You always have to think for yourself and assess whether you perhaps feel that things may be slightly different, totally opposite, or you are in complete agreement. The most important thing is that you have the power. That you always acquire the courage to take responsibility for your own perception of reality, whether you agree with others partially or completely. What I mean by this is that there is always much more to every issue. All this could take months of endless debates. So what I may say here could be completed or complemented by what you may feel there is. You may carry within you a piece of knowledge that others have not yet acquired, and vice versa. Even here among ourselves we sometimes have different perceptions on one subject or another. On Earth, when this happens, there is a tendency to pit one opinion against the other and take one side. Generally, however, so-called opposing views tend to be, in reality, complementary. Thus, in truth, they are never opposites. They are just definitions of more perspectives of the same reality, and reality is made up of all these perspectives, and even many more. That is why everyone's view is highly respected, whether we agree or disagree. That said, we can start by trying to answer the question that the title of the video proposes: where do we go when we die? You might think it's frustrating or repetitive, but the truth is that there are few topics that have a simple, short answer. The truth is that it depends on many factors, starting with the fact that we don't actually go anywhere, physically as such. We could give a simpler answer in this case, which we will break down as best we can later. The answer would be, wherever your ideas take you. However, the real question, properly phrased, would be, where does our attention, our consciousness, go when we die? Because, as I said a moment ago, it's not like you teleport somewhere else physically and there you are. Although from some perspective, it might feel a little bit like that too. You're in one place, and suddenly you could be in another place and reflect on how you got there. But beyond the feeling you might have, technically that's not what actually happens. But what is reality? Who decides how you perceive or feel the things you experience? Not me. Today's topic is also very difficult, because it has many layers of understanding. In the end, from the top, so to speak, and paradoxically, it might be the simplest way to answer. Wherever your ideas take you. That would be the answer. But if we go down a few levels, within those rules of the game and that context that you have set up for yourself, there are many, many variables. For example, whether you are there coming directly from the source or you are in immersion. Although, really, in the absence of time, you are always coming directly from source. You can always change where your attention goes yourself, at all times. That is the main reason why no one can keep you anywhere forever. So much so, that even your return to your immersion pod is not 100% assured once you pass away. If your power of attention is very strong towards the earth, if your ideas anchor you to a place, you can stay in that place. In this way, it could happen that the person in the pod never awakens, or that they awaken but their atma or point of attention has fragmented again, forming two distinct people who influence each other, but do not have the exact same experience. As has been said many times before, there is no immovable, palpable paradise or hell that is always the same for everyone. Depending on how you think it works, that's how you create it and end up manifesting it. I will not go into more detail about this, because my companions have explained it several times before, as I say. But just as you yourself can manifest a hell, a paradise, or whatever, you can also manifest an afterlife. An afterlife as you know it or imagine it. So the afterlife or between life might even be different for each person or point of attention. It could even be similar between several, because they have agreed to it. Just as perception agreements work in life, so too in death. Always remember that everything is ideas, contexts, thoughts, beliefs. For that reason, I don't quite agree with the concept of coming from source, or having been to source, or how you feel in source. Because whenever you perceive yourself as something or someone, even without a clear identity or even a form as such, and even though you perceive yourself in a realm of complete integration, love and light and feeling that all is well, you are actually perceiving yet another reality. Another idea. Source is not even a state of consciousness. It is that which animates all these states of consciousness. You are always the source. You are always there. Whatever you perceive, whatever density you are in. Everything you imagine, everything you live, everything you think, feel, see, hear, everything is you, as source, functioning. Animating all of that. So, for me, source is simply the engine, the core. The consciousness itself. Nothing more than that. So when you die, your consciousness or point of attention is redirected to where your vibration and your thoughts make you compatible, and it is even possible not to experience the afterlife or the between life or anything like that. Sometimes your thoughts take you directly from one life to the other. And here I recommend you to have seen the videos I previously uploaded on the workings of time, to understand what follows. Here I am not only talking about the well-known wheel of samsara, nor am I talking about repeating the same incarnation constantly until you release karma. That has already been discussed a few times, and in any case would be a subject for another time. I am talking about being Paul and incarnating into Gabe as soon as Paul dies, without any intermediate step. Suddenly, you are living as Gabe. And you don't necessarily go on to live the moment of Gabe's birth or the formation of the fetus, and here comes the interesting and complex part. Let's say that Paul died feeling that he was alone and nobody understood him, and that situation tormented him deeply. When Paul dies, his consciousness automatically embodies a moment in Gabe's life in which circumstances make him feel profoundly alone and misunderstood. That is, from a certain point of view, it would come in as walk-in. But at the same time, Gabe is still Gabe with all his past and his experiences, which have led him to feel this way. In other words, it is Gabe's past that has made him feel this way, but at the same time it is also Paul's past that makes him feel this way, so there are several explanations at the same time. This, if you think about it, means that by incarnating Gabe, the ideas with which Paul died made him manifest a life in accordance with those ideas, and therefore he manifested both his present and his past. In other words, a context. That is to say, you can also manifest things into the past. This also explains why it makes no sense to give up your life by your own hand in despair and sadness, or in any negative emotion. Because in most cases all you get is either to go back to being Paul, and Paul, and Paul, and Paul, and Paul until you get over it, or you will instantly become Gabe. Therefore, your only alternative, and the best alternative of all, will always be to move on. To rise again. Become strong. Take a deep breath, stand up and learn. Escaping by going to the source is not an option. You are already the source. As Marie said recently in one of her last threads, you are your own matrix and you cannot escape it, because you cannot escape yourself. Now, you could take this information as horrible news, especially if you think you are not able to overcome the situation that overwhelms you. Or you could also stop telling yourself these things, stand up and get yourself out of it. You can also see this as the most empowering message you have ever received. Your only option is to become strong and wise, and in the end you will become so. The first step to this is to start encouraging and caring for yourself as you deserve, to be willing to improve yourself, and to have a strong determination to save yourself. If it helps, imagine that inside you there is a child who has been with you for a long time, who is you. Your mission is to listen to and help that child. You are going to bring him or her out, and you are going to help him or her to be brave. The sooner you start, the sooner you will. Lots of strength, friend. You are the protector and guide this child needs. Zael of Error.